Hello guys, from this video we will be creating a project related to Titanic dataset where we will be predicting the passenger has survived or not using data science techniques and using machine learning model which is logistic regression. That's why in the coming videos you can expect an end-to-end data science project, and also we will try to host our project so that everyone in the world can access our project. So without wasting any time, let's start. So firstly we have to download the Titanic dataset. Now let's move to the browser and just type Titanic dataset Kaggle, so that this result will be in front of you, and just click on the first link and the output is in front of you, which is related to Titanic dataset. So this is information of Titanic dataset, as you can see. Now we are only interested in data, and to create a machine learning model using data analysis we will be requiring only trained dataset. So let's download the files. So as you can see, this is general submission, test CSV and train CSV. So let's simply download this train.csv file. So I will download the file in the same folder, as you can see. So let's save this file. And as you can see, the train.csv has been downloaded. Now let's move to our folder once again. And as you can see, this is train.csv file. So let's open this folder in Jupyter Notebook that we usually do. So as you can see, Jupyter has opened in this folder. Now let's open a new file. So the file is open, as you can see. Now let's give a file name. So as you can see, I have given the name as Titanic Part 1. So let's import basic library, which is pandas. Also, we will be requiring more libraries in coming lectures whenever we need them. So for today's video, this library is sufficient. So let's move ahead. Now we have to simply load our dataset. So I will simply create a variable. This time I will name the variable as train equal to pd.read underscore csv, because the file is csv, and this will be named as train.csv. Now let's run this cell. So the cell has run successfully. Now simply type train.head and give 10 as input, so that 10 values will be displayed. So the values are in front of you, as you can see. So first is passenger ID survived. So this is our output column. So let's move back to this exploration. So first is passenger ID survived P class. P class means in Titanic there were different classes of passengers. Means the members who were very rich, who were considered as first class member. The members which were middle class family members like us, they come in P class 2. So in this dataset there are only 3 values, which is 3, 2 and 1 related to this richness. So next is name column. So it considers the name of that person, then the gender of that person or sex of that person, then age of that person. SIP-SP. SIP-SP means sibling spouse. Then next is PA Parch. Parch means parents and children. Then after that, this is a ticket number and this is the fare of that passenger. Then cabin. After that, last column is embark. Embark means at which point they were picked by the ship. So this was basic understanding. Now let's go to the Kaggle website and take detailed knowledge of this data. So this is a proper knowledge. So as you can see, survival. So this survival column means to survival. 0 means no, 1 means yes. So as you can see, the survival column has two values, 0 and 1. 0 means the passenger died and 1 means the passenger survived. Now next is P class. P class means as I told, they were divided in different class. First means first class, second means second class, and 3 means third class. Third class normally comes under poor people. First class means the richest people. After that, sex can be directly called as gender, male, female. After that, next is age. So age in years. So that's okay. SIP-SP means of sibling spouse abroad. So SIP-SP means the person has any siblings in this ship or not. Yes or no. And if yes, then how many? So this data simply contains this. So SIP-11103. As you can see, there are many numbers depending upon the siblings. The next is parents. So parents and children. So the person has his parents in the ship or his children in the ship. So this is a short form of parents and children, which is PARCH. Then the next is ticket number. So ticket number can be simply described as the A521170. So this is ticket number, then this is second ticket number, then this is third ticket number, and so on, as you can see. After next is fare. So fare means what is the cost of that ticket. So 7.25, 71.2833. So I think the fare is in dollars. And after that, cabin. Cabin number means the room or apartment the person has been given to stay for few days for the journey. And last is embark. Embark means the port of embarkation. So the ship goes from these three positions: Cherbourg, Queenstown, and Southampton. In short form, they are called as C, Q, and S. C means Cherbourg, Q means Queenstown, and S means Southampton. So this was the basic information under embark. So after viewing the dataset, we can identify that passenger ID has infinite number of passenger ID. Survivor has only two options, which is 0 and 1. P class has three options. Name has infinite amount of data, so we can specify. This gender or sex column has only two options, male and female. Age is also numerical data, so the values can be null also, and 54, which is numerical value or a float value. SIP means sibling and spouse, which is 0, 1, 2, and how many spouse the person has. Parents and children, so this belong to this class. After that, tickets, so this is ticket ID. And proper fare. Also, cabin means the allocated cabin to that person. After that, this is embark, which is a pickup point of that person. So this is all about information of that data. So let's move ahead. Now, what is the actual size of data? So to find actual size, the special function is called as shift. We have already seen in last videos. So I will simply type train.shape and just shift enter. So the data is 891 rows and 12 columns. So these are all 12 columns, as you can see, and these are 891 rows. So here only 10 rows are appearing. Now if you want to see entire data, what is the command? The command name is toString. So we will simply type that command to see the entire data. Now let's run this cell. So this is the entire data, and as you can see, it's not visible to our eyes. So simply just print the data. So at least it will be visible to us properly. Oh, the spelling is incorrect. So this is a proper data, as you can see. So this is passenger survey class and so on. P class, and after that the data is age, sibling, parts, ticket, and as you can see, this is entire data. Still, it's not clearly visible because of this toString. So we can simply, let's say, type sample. So this can give the entire data, but we have to pass 891. I don't think it will work, but let's try. So this is entire data, and trainer sample only gives I think 10 data. So passenger is survived P class, and this is similar to this data. So in this video, we have learned what is the importance of each column in this dataset and different types of categories that are done in dataset. Also, we come to know that the shape of this dataset is 891 rows and 12 columns. Today's agenda is data cleaning. So the first operation to check the data is using data.info command. So we can simply type, let's say, train.info. So the output is in front of you, which contains 12 columns, as you can see, and every column has 891, 891, 891 rows or records, but this each column has around 714 records. Also, the cabin column has 204, which means 204 are only records and the rest all values are non values. After that, this embark has 889, which means 2 records are missing in this column. So we have to do something to make our data clean and perfect to make our model. Let's begin. Now I will simply check how much null values are present in the entire dataset. So to check null values, there is a command called as isNull. So I will simply use that. So train.isNull. Then let's print it. So as you can see, it is giving false, 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 true, which means false means the value is not true and true means the value is null. So if you want to take a sum of this, we can simply extend this command by typing dot sum. It will simply give us the values. So the answer is in front of you, which is passenger ID has 0 null values, survived has 0 null values, P class has 0 null values. Only the null values are present in this age, cabin, and embark. So looking at this cabin, as you can see, there are 687 null values, and our entire dataset has only 891 values. So instead of retrieving the 687 values, it's better to delete the entire column, because if we try to fill the value, our model will get trained in wrong manner, and which will result in the wrong prediction, and which will low down the accuracy of our model. So we don't want that. So it's better to remove a column which has 50% or more null values. So to drop any column, I have already taught you in previous video. The command is simple. So as you can see, the command is in front of you, which is train.drop, and the column name I have passed in list. Because in list, if you pass, so if you wish to delete multiple columns, you can simply just append the name here. But currently we are only interested in deleting one column. And after that, the next is access equal to 1. Access equals to 1 means that we are interested in deleting entire column. And if I make it 0, then the program or compiler will understand that we want to delete the entire row. But in our case, we want to delete entire column, so I will write here 1 and in place is equal to 2, which means if we want to send changes in the train variable, we have to write this command, else it will be get deleted for only this cell. So I hope the command explanation is clear. Now let's run this cell. So we are getting a key error. So what's that error? Cabin not found. I think the spelling is incorrect. So I will simply copy paste the spelling. And yes, the spelling was incorrect. Now let's run the cell. And as you can see, the cell has run successfully. After that, the second cell is embark and age. So age is around 177. Missing values. So 177 is around, let's simply calculate. 177 by 891. How much it will give? And let's say in 200, so just make a percentage. So it is giving 19.86, which means around 20% of rows are incomplete. And each column is really necessary seeing the dataset that you also have understood. So it's better to fill the values. So to fill the values, we have already saw the technique in last video, which is mean median. Also, if you want to fill the null values, you can fill with any values of your choice. But looking at the dataset, which is this, it's better to fill the value with mean of the each column. So let's do the same. So to fill the null values, there is special command, fill null. So let's type the entire command and after that I will explain it. So as you can see, I have written the entire command. Now let's explore the command. So I have written train of age, which means the focus on specific column of train dataset, and then fill null. Fill null means fill null values by who? Train dot age of mean, which means the mean of this each column, and in place equal to true, so that the changes will get saved in the train variable. Now let's run this cell and check whether if errors occur or not. So as you can see, I am getting an invalid syntax error. So let's remove this dot, and the cell has run successfully, as you can see. So the cabin has been removed, age issue has been solved. Now only the last option is remaining, which is embark. So embark has only 2 missing records, and also it is a categorical column according to me. As you can see, SCAC. So we can fill this column with mean or median, as you can see. So instead of filling this value with mean and median, I am planning to just take a value count. So let's take a value count of this embark. So I will simply type. So the command is in front of you, which is train of embark of value count. So this command will simply give us the values and count of that values in that column. So let's run this set to check the output. So as you can see, S has occurred 644 times, C has occurred 168 times, and Q has occurred 77 times. So it's better for us to fill these two empty values by S. So let's do that. So to do that, the command is really very simple. I will simply copy paste this command here and just type here, let's say embark. And we have to replace it with S. So I will simply remove this line or part and simply write here S. So the two missing values will be replaced by S. So the command is ready. Now let's run the cell. So this time the cell has run successfully without any errors. Now I hope the entire data is clean. So to check that, I will simply copy paste the same value. Let's run this cell. So as you can see, there is no null value present in our dataset. Finally, we have come to conclusion that the dataset has been cleaned. So to build any model, we have to understand the relationship between the columns. So to understand the relationship between columns, it's better to represent the data in graphical format. So let's do that. Before that, let's understand the data by using another command, which is data.describe or train.describe in our case. Train.describe is really very helpful command to understand the data closely. So passenger ID has 891. As you can see, every value column is 891, which is correct. Then the mean of this column is this. Survived is 0.38, which means only 38% people survived. P class is 2.30. 29 is the average age. SIP is P, parch and fair, as you can see. And these are the outputs of only numerical columns, as you can see. Then the minimum is 1. 25% of record is 223 and so on. Now let's try to represent the data. So to represent the data, we have tried two libraries, which is matplotlib and seaborn. So let's try seaborn library because we have not studied that library well. So I will simply import seaborn as we have already installed it in previous video. So no need to install it. Now let's run the cell. So the cell has run successfully, as you can see. So the final output of this project will be the person has survived or not. So let's check the value counts of the survive column first. So I'll simply type it train. So as you can see, 549 people died out of 891 and only 342 people survived. Now let's represent this data in proper graphical format. To represent this data in graphical format, I will be using another method which is countplot. So I will simply type here SNS, which is a short form of seaborn library, and simply type countplot and just pass here X, which is the column, and just pass survived here because we want to check of survived. After that, we have to pass the data. So data in the case is string, as you know, because the entire data is saved in train variable. Now let's run this cell. So this is a count plot. Around 549 people died and only 342 people survived. So now let's try to find the same ratio using gender. Means in male category how many people died and how many people were survived, and vice versa in female category. For that I will simply type a command first, and after that I will explain you. In this line we have used the same count plot here, and I have passed here 6. So 6 will be drawn on this x-axis and survived. So I have written u is equal to survived, which means that show me the survived data based on the gender. After that I have passed here data equal to train, which means we have passed here entire data set. Now let's run this cell. So the answer train is now defined because train is small. It's run the cell, and as you can see the output is in front of you. So based on the gender, around 450 or 500 people died and only 100 to 100 people or male people were saved, and in case of females only less than 100 females died and around 250 females were saved. So in this 342 people, more than 200 would be women. So this is called ladies first. So because in such situation ladies will be given top priority, then children, and then old age people. Then after that normal people will be given priority. So using this graphical representation we come to a conclusion that females were given higher priority as compared to males. Now let's try to print the survival rate based on richness. Richness means the class of that people. Means if the person is very powerful or he's a businessman, then what are the chances of his survival? So I will simply copy paste the same command and just replace it with pickles. I hope the column name is same. Okay, so it's same. So as you can see, so this is a business class or rich people, and then this is a middle class people, and this is the economic class people. So as you can see, the survival ratio of business class or rich people is very high, or you can say it is equal to double. So this is around 75 and this is close to 150. After that the survival chance of middle class people is as good as same, but still their chances are really very high, as you can see. And coming to the economic class, the output is in front of you. More than 350 people died and only 100 or 125 people saved. So the economic class people were given lowest priority of survival. After that let's try something different, which is embark. Embarking is the pickup point. So I will just try to draw a count plot by pickup point, which is embark. I hope the spelling is correct. It's correct. So as you know, we have saw in last video only that most of the people were picked from S point, then C point was the second point, and last point was Q, from where very low people were picked. So based on the pickup points from S point, 420 or 430 people died, to 25 people survived, and based on the C point, only 60-70 people died and more than 100 people were survived. So we can predict that the majority of businesses people were picked from point C. And coming to the last point, which is Q, more than 50 people died and less than 50 people were saved. So after this data visualization, we come to the point that in survivor chance, females were given high priority than males. Then rich class people or business class people were given really very high priority. And majority of rich people were from C class. We can conclude this. In this video, we will try to replace the textual columns into numerical columns, because when we give our data to machine learning model, the machine learning model only understands numbers and no text. That's why it's necessary to convert the categorical value or textual data to numerical format before giving it to machine learning model. So now let's check the dataset first. So I will simply type here train, and this is our dataset, which is passenger ID, survived, P class, name, sex, age, SIP, sweep, patch, ticket, fare, and embark. Now just pause the video and look at the dataset and think that which columns should be removed and which are not required to train a model. I hope you have paused the video and think about it, and also return your response in comment section. Now, according to me, the passenger ID class has no value because the survival of the passenger will not depend on this passenger column. So we can simply remove this passenger ID column. Then survival is important, which is output. Then P class. So we saw the output that based on the richness, the survival chances were high. So it's important. Then name. Based on name, we can predict that the person will survive or dead. So we can simply remove this column. Then sex. So we also saw that the females were given high priority. So this column is also very, very important. But this column is in categorical format. So we have to convert this in numerical format. I will show you that how we can convert it. After that, age. So based on age, the priority was also given to children, adults, and females. Then SIP, SP parts. So based on the family size of that person, the priority was given. After that, ticket. So do you think based on the ticket number, the survival of the person was decided? My answer is strictly no. So we can simply remove this column. Then fare. Thinking about this fare column, if the fare price is very high, then the chances of survival of that person is very high because he will be rich. So let's take this column, and last is embark column. So we saw previously that embark has only three values: S, C, and I guess Q. We have to convert these values in some numerical values, because we saw that the person who were picked from this point were survived a lot based on the ratio. So our today's video target will be converting this sex and embark column to numerical dataset. So let's do that. So as you can see, the female or sex column has only two values. So we can simply replace the male with 0 and female with 1. So seeing this dataset, I am predicting that there are only two values in this sex column. So let's check that. So I will simply type. So as you can see, I have written the command train of sex of value counts. So it's giving me error, and the error is no command name sex. So let's replace it by capital S, and the output is in front of you. So male are 557 and female are 314. Gender or sex column has only two values. So we can simply replace this male with 0 and female with 1. Also, let's check the value count of this embark once again for confirmation. I will simply type here embark. Sex has only two types and embark has three types. So we can simply replace male with 0, female with 1. Here S can be replaced with 0, C can be replaced with 1, and Q can be replaced with 2. So I will simply write that command first and then explain you the code. So I have written the command to replace the sex data and embark data. So I have written command as train.replace, which means the replace method, then passed here a dictionary. As you can see, then in dictionary I have simply passed a key as sex, and inside that sex I have passed another dictionary, which is that male equal to 0. So means replace male with 0 and female with 1. In the similar way, in the next key I have written as embark, which means the column name, and the value to that embark is another dictionary, which is replace S with 0, C with 1, and Q with 2. And finally I have written the command in place equal to true, which means that save the data in the train variable. Now let's run this cell. So as you can see, the cell has run with 0 errors, which means the dataset has been replaced. So let's check that. So I have written the command train.predict. Now let's check the output. So as you can see, sex is replaced with 0, 1, 1, 1 and embark is replaced with 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. So let's try another way to check the data. So we simply type train.info, which will give us the data types of each column. So as you can see, it's in 64 now. Before it was object, and this embark column is also converted to in 64. So we are successfully converting the data types of sex and embark or replace the data values by 0, 1 and 1. So in this video, we have simply taken a quick summary of our entire project and also the encoding categorical of columns by replacing the textual data of sex and embark column with 0, 1 respectively. So the project is coming to an end now because we have done almost everything. We have to create a model. So to build a model, we require two inputs, which is first is input and second is output. So what will be the input of the entire data? So as we discussed in last video, now let's type the command once again. So we have decided to delete this passenger ID, name and ticket because these three columns are of no use for making our model. So let's do that. So we can drop multiple columns using drop value. So let's store the remaining values in a variable called as x. I will type the entire command and then I will explain you. So as you can see, I have simply written the commands. Now let's explore these commands. So I have simply stored the value of train.drop, means I have simply stored entire dataset except these columns which are passenger ID, survive, name and ticket. Now as we decided, passenger ID, name and ticket should be removed. But why have I removed this survive column? Because we have to separate features and target. So we have to store features in one variable and target in another variable. So to store features, we have to also remove target from that feature variable. So that's why I removed here survived and store the entire data, which will be P class, sex, age, SIPSP path, where and embark. So all these columns will be stored in this X variable. So Y has only one variable, which is survive. So let's run the cell and confirm that. I am getting a key value because passenger ID is not found. So we have forgot to return here access equal to 1. That we did in previous videos. Now let's run the cell. Now the cell is clear. Now let's check the output first. So this is output of X and this is output of Y. So X contains P class, X, age, SIPSP patch, where and embarked. And Y contains only one column, which is survival column. So in this video, we have simply dropped unwanted columns from our dataset and stored it in the new variable, which is X. And we have simply stored the target variable, which is survive, in Y variable and simply printed the output. And if you want to check the size of this variable, I can simply give x.shape so that you can know the size of it. So here is that this, and also we have to type a capital X because X is capital. So the shape is 891 and 7 columns. So it has 891 rows and 7 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is correct. And Y has only, let's check the rows presenting Y. So Y will have same 891 rows only and only one column. As you can see, the output is this. So to do model training, we have to simply split the data into 2 parts, training and testing. So for that, we have to install a package which is scikit-learn or sklearn. So to install a package, let's choose the command. So to choose the command, I simply Google the command which is pip install sklearn, and I have reached this website. So I will simply copy paste this installation command, type an exclamation mark and paste the command and simply run the cell. So it will take some time, but in my case the requirement is already satisfied, but in your case the package will get installed. And now let's import this package. So I simply type from sklearn dot model selection import train test kit as TTS. So it is simply short form. So the command or cell has run successfully, which means the import is correct. Now let's divide the dataset in 4 different parts. So the 4 different parts will be xtrain, xtest, ytrain, ytest. I will type the entire command, then I will show you how the data is divided. I have written the command to split the data. Now I will explain the 4 inputs here. So inputs are xtrain, xtest, ytrain and ytest. So what are these inputs? So I have found an amazing blog on GFG. So let's explore that blog. So I have divided the dataset into 4 values: xtrain, xtest, ytrain, ytest. So the train set. So the training set is a set of data that was utilized to fit the model. The dataset on which model is trained. This can be seen and learned by model, which means, so in this data, the entire value is of 891. So let's assume 650 rows of entire dataset will be come under this extend, and this extend values only contain the features. What are the features? So these are all the features, and this x test will contain the output of it, which is the y, and this is y train and y test, which means when the training is completed, then we have to test the accuracy of our model. To do so, we pass the model with the data which is not seen by model, and we can simply calculate the accuracy score of model using accuracy score method of this sklearn package. Now let's move back to GFG blog 17 to read the entire information. So test data is that the test dataset is a subset of training dataset that is utilized to give an accurate evaluation of final model fit. And validation set is the sample data from your model's training set that is used to estimate the model's performance while turning the model's hyperparameters. I very well know that you have not understood anything, but let's understand the same concept using practical demonstration. So these are the 4 inputs or variable names. Then I simply use this train test split, passed here x and y. So this x and y are simply these 2 values, x and y, as you can see this. After that, I have simply set test size as 0.25, which means 25% of data will be allocated for testing purpose and 75% of data will be used for training purpose. And after that, I have added one more parameter, which is random state 42. So what is random state? So random state can be any number between 0 to I think infinity or normally 100. So whenever we change the number, the data set gets shuffled in a random manner, and based on the random manner, the values get stored in this data. So you can't assume that the first 600 rows will be stored to this x train and x test, and remaining rows will be get stored in y train and y test. So before splitting the dataset will always get shuffled, and after that only the values will be get stored in these variables. Now let's run the cell. So the cell has run successfully. Now I will simply try to print all these values. So I will simply type in print. So this is a splitting of dataset. So xtrain contains 668 rows out of 891 rows and 7 columns. And xtest contains remaining 223 rows and 7 columns. So which means the xtrain contains the training dataset and xtest contains the testing dataset. And on the similar hand, ytrain contains the 668 rows and only one column, which is the y column. So initially we will simply pass this xtrain and ytrain to the model to learn. After that, we will simply pass this xtest and ytest to test the accuracy of our model. So I hope you have understood the splitting of datasets. So random 668 rows are stored in this xtrain variable, and remaining 223 rows are stored in this xtest variable. After that, in ytrain variable, 668 rows are stored that are similar to these rows, and the output of that row or target of that row is stored in several variable in this ytrain, and similar goes with y-shape, as you can see. So I hope you have understood this. Now let's simply train our model. So to train our model, we have to first import that model. So let's import that model by typing this command. So the command name or input is from sklearn.linear model import logistic regression. So the command is run successful, as you can see. Now simply let's load the model in the Jupyter file. So the command is model equal to logistic regression and opening and closing circular brackets. So the model has been successfully loaded. Now we have to simply train the model. So to train the model, there is one method called as fit. So I will simply key here model.fit. And what we have to pass here, training dataset. So our training dataset is that xtrain and ytrain. So simply let's pass that model. So xtrain and ytrain. So xtrain contains the features and ytrain contains the output of that features. So the model is successfully fitted, as you can see. and it's simply giving me a warning and not any error. This warning usually occurs because the training dataset is really very low. But at the end of the day, our model is prepared. So the today's video part is of model evaluation. So let's do the model evaluation. So to do model evaluation, we have to simply input a package accuracy score. So the accuracy score method is present in sklearn package. So let's import that. So this accuracy score is present in sklearn.matrix import, or let's run this cell. And the main part is model evaluation. So let's create another empty variable. So let's name the variable as x train prediction, which means that we will get the same data to the model and let's test the prediction. So let's pass the same data that we use in training. So I'll simply type model.predict. So this is predict function, and it will simply give us output as 0 or 1 that we are interested. And let's pass here x2 that we already passed here as training dataset. After that, let's print also. So I'll simply let's print output. So let's run this cell. So this is output of 681 rows because 668 rows. Now let's test this dataset. So to compare or test this dataset with the actual output, we have to write one more command, which is I will simply pass here ytrain because this is the actual output. Ytrain, and after that the output that our model predicted. And now let's simply print the accuracy output. So the accuracy is 79.79, which is approx 80%. So which is good. So the accuracy has come and training data, which means I have trained and tested the data on same dataset. Now let's give different dataset to our model. So let's copy paste these commands to save our time. And let's try here test. And simply let's change this x train to x test because we want to pass testing dataset to make the predictions. So this is output of 281, I think 223 output. So this all are 223 outputs. Now let's simply test the accuracy of our model. So to test the accuracy of model, we have to simply pass here prediction or the actual output of this model. So the actual output where I will simply copy paste this once again to save our time. And now let's check the accuracy. So as you can see here, the accuracy is increased by 0.004, which means initially the accuracy of our training dataset was 7979 and the testing dataset accuracy is 7982, which means the accuracy has increased, which means our model is perfectly trained and has not given overfitting or underfitting error. Overfitting errors occurs when the data performs too good, which means the accuracy on our training dataset will be 100%. But if I use the another dataset or another values to the model, it will simply give poorest accuracy, say 30%, 40%. So as you can see, our model is ready. But if you want to host our model, we have to simply convert this model into pkl file. So to convert our model, which is available in this variable model, where is the variable? Here. So we have to store this model in pkl file. So for that, I will simply install a package which is pickle. So I will simply type pip install pickle and let's see the output. So simply go to this pypi file and simply copy this command. Go to our refactor group, type exclamation mark is the command, and it will simply install pickle in front of you. In my case, requirement is already satisfied. So now let's import this pickle. So I have imported pickle. Now we have to write the command which is with open file name. So the name of the file in which the data should be saved. So I will simply type here model.pk and I will open the file in write binary because we want to write the data as a. So the command to save or dump the dataset is simply package name which is pickle.dump, past here model. So what you want the model and f. So let's run this cell. So the cell has run successfully, which means our model is ready. Now let's simply check that. So as you can see, this was our destination folder and this model.pkl file has appeared. Now to test this model, I will simply type another command which is with open. So let's simply copy paste this only. So to save our time. So it will simply load the model. I hope it will generate no errors. There is a logistic reason has no attribute to it because I have to write a picker and not model. So there is no error. Now let's check the model. Previously, how did we do predictions? So we did predictions using model.predictXtest. So we will also do the same thing. Instead of this model, I'll simply type our new model, which is loaded model.predict, and we have to pass the values in 2D array. So let's simply check the values or take the values. So let's say 3022. I will simply copy paste this over, and the output of this is 0. So answer should be 0. So let's check that. So this is our input to the model. So I will simply just add one more cell here and simply type here, let's say X. So this 3 is the P class, 0 is the sex, 22 is the age, SIP is speech, SP is parch, which is 0, and fair is 7. And final is embark, which is 0. So let's simply run the cell and test the output. So the answer is X of 0, and the actual output was written here, so which is Y. So first output was 0, so means our model has corrected it accurately. So in this video, we have successfully trained our model and done model evaluation successfully, and also we have successfully dumped our model using pickle. In this journey of exploration, we have successfully completed or created the model use of Titanic dataset and saved within model.pkl file. Now it's time to simply use this model and make predictions by taking user inputs using user interface. So for that, I will be using a famous library which is Streamlit. Streamlit is an online platform which provides developer or machine learning engineers a feature to test their model and also share their models with the world. So how we can host this project and everything, I will be discussing in this video. Now let's open this folder in VS Code so that I can explain in this min.py file. So as you can see, the folder is open in the VS Code. Now let's simply open this min.py file. So few imports are Streamlit has st. So make sure you install the Streamlit. The command to install Streamlit is really very simple. You just have to type pip install Streamlit, and the package or the command will be available in this pypi website. So you can simply copy, open terminal here by simply clicking here, going to terminal, opening the terminal and simply pasting that command and hitting run button. So in my case, the requirement is already satisfied, but in your case, it will take some time to load. So the terminal has opened. Now I will simply show the output first and then we will explore the source code. So to run any Streamlit file, you have to run a specific command. So the command is Streamlit run main.py. So this main.py is the name of my file. Streamlit run is the command. Now let's hit enter button. So first time it will take some time. So this is output of our model. So let's test this model. So class of passenger. The options are premier, executive and economy, means first class, second class, third class. So let's keep it premier. Gender will be female because male had higher opportunities of survival. Age of passenger, let's keep the age as 26. Then the passenger had any sibling spouse, let's say she had 2 siblings and 2 parents, means mother and father. And the fare of journey was, so it's premium, so let's give the fare as 56. And checking point was, let's say S, because Southampton had highest priority of survival. So now click on the split button. The output is the passenger will survive. Now if I simply change it to economy class, make it 6 and let's keep the location as this, and I will simply replace it with male. So do you think what will be the output? So let's test it. The passenger will not survive because the passenger is of economy class, the gender is male, and the checking point has also changed. The output of today's video will be this. How I created this, let's move back to the VS Code and explore it. So I will simply minimize it. Now the imports of this video. So first imports are Streamlit as st. So this is nickname, as you know, importing math, importing pickle. So importing pickle to simply load our model.pkl file, which is this file. I hope you understand. So these 5 to 6 lines are done. They're simply using header. So Titanic Survival Prediction. So st.header. So this st.header method is available in Streamlit package, which is responsible for creating this beautiful, or let's say normal header. You can also add here emojis. After that, I have divided the entire screen in 3 columns. Col 1, col 2 and col 3 by typing the command st.columns and passed here 3. So divide the column in 3 parts. So division was done, and the what information do you wish to store in these columns? So information what with column 1. So this is the syntax p class. So first input to this file was p class. So I will simply open that Jupyter file in VS Code only. So this is that file. Now I simply scroll down to the last part of Jupyter file, which is this. So first was p class. So I simply kept the name same, st.select box, then type class of passenger, which is the text, and these 3 categories: premier, executive and economy, 1, 2 and 3. After that 6, so means gender will be male and female. Then age is equal to number input. This is the output of the data or code. So class of passenger 3 drop down, gender 2 drop down, and age numerical input column. I hope this one is clear to you. Now let's move ahead. So next is column 4 and column 5. So this time I have divided the column or entire screen in 2 parts, which is st.columns 2. So the screen gets divided in 2 parts. So in these 2 parts I simply type SIP. So SIP is sibling and spouse, which is this, and parch as you can see, and then I simply return st.number input. So we want the number input here. So I simply return number input, sibling, spouse, parent, children. And the output is in front of me, which is this. And after that I have simply divided the screen in 2 parts only for fare and embark, passed here number input because fare is in number input, and written a select box or picking point, because embark is a word which is not understandable by everyone. That's why I have simply written a picking point and passes 3 options of table dataset only. So this is picking point, and you have to cancel it any option. Then after that I have created this predict button by typing command this if st.button predict. Means if someone clicks on this predict button, then what will happen? Firstly, the p class value will be initialized to 1. Remember, this p class is the above p class, which is this. It is capital P and it's small p. So these 2 variables are different. Keep that in mind. So initially this p class will get initialized to 1, but if the user chooses economy as the p class will be changed to 3, which was initially 1, and if the user chooses executive, then it will simply replace with 2. So p class concept is clear. Then the gender was initialized as 0, which means the male. But if the user chooses sex as female, then the gender will get replaced with 1. After that, age, SIP part. So these were all numerical values, and I have simply added a match.cell, which means the ceiling value. Ceiling is the higher value. It means if I write, let's say 7.25 or 36, then it will simply get converted to 8, because which is the higher value than 7.36. So I have written this. So these 3 inputs are clear to use, and also this for it is fair. After that is embark. Embark has 3 options like a p class. So initially embark or initialized to 0, and if the user chooses sharebow, it was replaced with 1, because I have simply replaced this option here only. Let me show you. So when I simply replace the values, or when I did, let's say, encoding categorical columns, I simply replaced embark here S with 0. So here also it should be replaced with 0. So initially S is 0, and if the user chooses C, or which is sharebow, the embark should be replaced with 1 and simply goes to Queenstown. So if you just chooses Queenstown, the option should be converted to 2, which is King equal to 2. So I have simply replaced the concept here also. Then the all 6 to 7 values or inputs are ready for making prediction. So I have simply created a variable which is results, and simply done model.predict, which is the same function that we use here, which is this function model.predict. And simply passes 7 only, because p class, gender, age, SIP, SP, patch, were embark that we normally did here. But here we simply pass the variable names, because the value is stored in the variables. And I have simply created a dictionary like where output is 1. Means if the output of this result is 1, then the text should be printed, the passenger will survive, else the passenger will not survive. And I have simply printed output by typing another method, which is st.markdown simply passed here f string by double asterisk and simply pass the output of results of 0 because the output of this result is will be numpy array. But that's why I have simply written here 2D array which is results of 0. So the first value of the numpy will be go to this output labels. If the value will be 1, then it will print the passenger is survived, else the passenger is not survived. So this was the basic explanation of the entire source code. You can export the Streamlit package to make the background colorful, or you can add any emojis, logos according to the requirement. This is really very basic example in which I just wanted to introduce you Streamlit, the hosting partner of every machine learning engineer. So let's move back to the code. In this video, we have simply created a user interface of our model using Streamlit package. Now in this video, I will teach you how you can host this application on web so that anyone in this world can access your application. So if you have come till here, I am definitely sure you already have a GitHub account. So simply log into a GitHub account and simply open it. So this is my GitHub account. Now I will upload the files on my GitHub account, but before uploading, we have to simply create a requirement.txt file. So to create requirement.txt file, let's move back to VS Code. And I will simply create a requirements.txt. This requirement.txt file will contain all packages, libraries that you use to create a model right from scratch. So let's explore the main.py file. So in this main.py file, we have used two packages. Let's simply write these packages: Streamlit and pickle. Then simply let's open this Jupyter file here only. Then simply use pandas here. So let's type pandas. Then moving down, seaborn package. So let's simply type as seaborn. Then after that, I have simply used this. Let's scroll down. Direct, I think I use sklearn. So let's type the name as scikit-learn. So the name will be, let's type the name as pip install sklearn. So the actual name is scikit-learn. So I will simply copy this and paste it here. And I think we have included all packages or libraries that we have used to create our entire model. So let's save this requirement.txt file with 5 imports or 5 libraries. So we are good to go. Click on this create new repository. So let's give the repository name as Titanic Survival Prediction. So the name is available. Now let's do a small description. So this is the description, a very small description. I simply give any random description. You can give it according to the requirement. So the name of our repository is Titanic Survival Predictor. I hope it's correct. Now I have initialized the repository as public. If you wish, you can simply click on this add readme file, or there is no need also. Now let's simply click on this create repository. So the repository is created in front of you. Now you want to upload existing files. So simply click on this upload an existing files. So this is a drop down of GitHub. So simply go to our folder, select model, Titanic is not required. These 3 files, simply drag and drop here. So the files are uploading, as you can see. Now after uploading, simply click comment changes. So it's processing our files and we are good to go. I am Streamlit to create user interface. So we have to host our project on Streamlit only. So to open Streamlit, I will simply type here Streamlit. So this is the Streamlit. So this is official website is streamlit.ie. Make sure you have to make your account. I will simply sign in because I have already created an account, and I think it will simply open my recent projects. So let's wait. So these are all my recent projects, as you can see. In your case, there will be 0 projects if you have not used this Streamlit. So simply click on this new app. So it is asking that do you have an app? So it's the code available in GitHub requirements tutorial awesome. And second option is no, create one from a template. But we have already uploaded a source code on this GitHub repo, which means we have to simply click on this yes or click the next button. So it is asking the name of that repo. So name of the repo is Titanic Survival Prediction. Branch main, which is correct, which is this main branch. Then it is giving that the file doesn't exist because the file name is main.py and not streamlit app. So just replace it with the file name with gn.py and the URL. So let's give a URL as Titanic Survival Prediction. And now let's see the advanced settings. So the advanced settings Python 3.9. So let's make it 3.8. And it might generate some errors because we have created this program in Python 3.7 version and we are deploying it in 3.8 version. So it might create some errors. So let's click on this deploy button and let's wait for the magic. It normally takes few minutes to deployment. So if you want to see the deployment process, you can simply click on this manage app button which will appear here. So this is appear here. So this is a process. Now let's wait for some time and let's check if any errors occur or not. So as you can see, our app is successfully hosted. Now let's minimize this by clicking on this icon. And this is our hosted app and this is the live URL of our app. You can simply test this URL by typing here. So the project is Titanic Survival Prediction, which is exactly same of our localhost or that we run in our local machine. So type of passengers, male, female. Let's type the age as 34. Now let's kill this passenger. So let's make it in male. Siblings, let's say 2. Parents, 1. Fear of journey, he's middle class, so let's make it 14. Chairman, let's make it Southampton. Now let's predict. The passenger will not survive because he is male and not rich. Congratulations, we have successfully completed the Titanic Survival Prediction web app, where we started from downloading the dataset from Kaggle, understood the dataset, cleaned the dataset, performed some data analysis, and also replaced some column data types, then created our own model, dumped that model using Pickled, and simply hosted the project on Streamlit. And the app is live in front of you. So that's all for today's video. Here comes the end of this video. Thanks for watching this video.